This episode is in partnership with Authority Magazine. Authority Magazine, a Medium publication, is devoted to sharing in-depth and interesting interviews featuring people who are authorities in business, pop culture, wellness, social impact, and tech.
Joining me once again as guest co-host is the wonderful Jane Sibbett. Jane is a talented actress and storyteller, best known for her role in Friends. Jane is also a writer, producer, director, photographer, advocate, and source conduit, and I'm grateful to call her my friend. Today, Jane and I are welcoming Robin Greenfield. What would it feel like to own absolutely nothing? Well, Robin Greenfield, he's an adventure activist and seeker who gave away every possession he owned before walking 1,600 miles down the Pacific coast from Canada to Los Angeles. No ID, no phone, no money, not even his own clothes, only what was borrowed. In a world where success is measured by what we have, Robin is testing the radical idea that true freedom comes from letting go. Step into his extraordinary journey and discover what happens when one man dares to break free from ownership and what it reveals about the invisible attachments that shape us all. I just want to welcome you to Believe in People, so thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for helping me to spread my message.
Well, this is what we want to do, and in fact, I want to ask you the first question, which is kind of like, this question of, okay, my friend, what is your purpose?
Okay, I'm actually going to get in this tree.
Are you climbing up in a tree? This makes me so happy.
Me too. I feel the energy.
I'm a tree climber, so that is just awesome that you're up there.
Okay, how's this? Does this work?
Perfect.
Sensational.
Okay, so what is my purpose is the question?
It is.
Okay, my purpose is to use my life as a vessel for positive change. So to be the change that I wish to see in the world, and to use my life as my message, showing that another way is possible, but not just showing another way, but using my life to create critical thought around the reality of the times we live in. So there's so much, we live such intricate and complex lives, but through globalization and industrialization, we're so disconnected from the reality behind our actions. And so what I do is I immerse in life in a way that helps us to really question the status quo, the societal norms, question our own thoughts and belief systems, and, actually result in enough thought that actual change occurs in our minds and in our actions.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Robin, how did you come to desiring this? I know that you have done a lot of non-attachment work, and my goodness, your story's been incredible. And I'm so, for anyone who hasn't already seen your story, I did a deep dive, and I was already changed just by reading your journey. It was phenomenally inspiring. How did you come to this point? Did you wake up one morning and have an epiphany that this is what you wish to do?
Yeah, no epiphany, no moment of enlightenment or an aha moment. What happened was in 2011, I was living a fairly typical life. I was about 25 years old, and I was relatively focused on material possessions and financial wealth. I remember I would shine the wheels on my car every Sunday morning and, polish the dash, and I was pretty focused on my clothes, like how I'd be perceived by others. And just waiting for this helicopter.
We don't hear it.
Oh, wonderful.
So you have noise canceling or something that's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't hear it at all.
And so, I had a goal of being a millionaire by the time I turned 30, because I thought money was freedom and I thought money was success. And what happened was I started to watch a lot of documentaries and read a lot of books, and I learned that the way that I was living, the food I was eating, the car I was driving, the gas I was pumping into the car, the stuff I was buying, the trash I was making, the water that I was drinking, the money that I was spending, the investments that I had, all of it was causing so much destruction, and it was all part of systems of oppression and exploitation, injustice and inequity. And I just said to myself, I'm not going to do that for the decades I have ahead. I realized I was living a hypocrisy. And I just said, I want to live in harmony, not destruction.
Beautiful.
So it was largely just rationale and logic that said I wanted to radically transform my life.
Spectacular.
And exactly. So how did that kind of evolve for you, Robin?
Well, I decided, so these documentaries and these books, they didn't just tell me the problems with the world, they also shared solutions. They shared that another way is possible. So I was just soaking in the knowledge and learning solutions. And so what I did, I'm a very goal-oriented person, I always have been, is I made a list of the many changes that I wanted to make in my life in order to bring my actions in alignment with my belief system. And I printed out this list and I hung it up in my kitchen where I would see it every day. And in fact, where anybody who visited me would see it because it was right by the front door. And then I made a goal that I would just check off at least one positive change per week, knowing that if I made one positive change per week for 2 years, that's over 100 positive changes. And, you know, imagine if you woke up tomorrow and you were doing 100 things differently. You might have a bit of a crisis. You might be like, who am I? But by doing it at least one thing a week for 2 years, I was able to relatively rapidly, but also somewhat gradually transform my life.
Wow. And may I ask you, so one thing I've been watching all your videos on Instagram, and one thing I felt, I mean, I feel you, I really feel your heart. And one time you were sitting, you were pondering, and you were wondering if this was, you were really questioning whether this was helpful, and not to yourself, and which I found quite empowering, but to others. And so what was that? What was that moment? What was that feeling for you, like in your gut, that you needed to say that?
I like to talk about feelings. Thanks for asking that. I practice nonviolent communication or compassionate communication. It's at the core of my being, and my belief is that we are all human beings that are operating based on feelings and needs. And so what's at my gut is that, you know, expressing what's really alive. So right now, as you know, I'm doing this 3-month immersive experiment of non-ownership where I gave away literally every possession that I have. I have not a single physical possession to my name or money, and I'm sleeping outside in Griffith Park, and the few items that I have, I've borrowed from other people. So it's a radical critique of consumerism and of the belief that money is security, and even just the whole concept of ownership. You know, it's like, when we sign a contract that says we now own the land, does the earth agree to that contract? Do the plants and animals agree to the contract? Do other humans agree to it besides the people that just have money? So basically what I'm saying is that this current experiment is far, far, far outside of societal norms, and it questions a lot of our most unquestioned societal norms. So some things that I do are fairly easy to wrap our head around, like growing and foraging all my food. It's like, okay, I can get that. Or like minimalism or living in a tiny house, you know, much easier to grasp. But this one, I knew going into this that a lot of people just weren't going to get it. But right now on social media, there's a bit of a storm. In fact, I would say that I don't know if I've ever had so much. I mean, some people would just say haters, but I don't believe that's what it is. But so much
Fear?
people, what?
Emotion.
Think it's fear?
What they're experiencing. I think some of them are annoyed, they're frustrated, they're irritated, but there's definitely fear, potentially jealousy. I have a little bit of a hard time because the level to their going like right now is I would say almost like an attacking, like they want to bring me down. And there's a lot of it. And I've had that for the last 13 years, but right now it's stronger than usual. And so to get to the precise answer, there's enough of that it's stimulating some questioning, which is just my own mind of I'm only so developed. You know, if I was fully developed, that wouldn't be an issue because but you know, I have my weaknesses. But as far as asking the question, I genuinely was looking for feedback from the people who do follow me, who have benefited from me and from anybody of, is what I'm doing right now, like, are you getting it? Is it worth me talking about it? Or are you mostly all just like, whatever Rob's doing right now is just a waste of my time. I'm not learning from this, and he should just keep this to himself. And if everybody felt that way, then great, I would keep it to myself. But if people are like, no, this is meaningful, we're learning, we're growing together, then I'm going to keep sharing.
Oh, we need conversation so much, and so many people are just begging to learn how to be compassionate, or to be feeling, as you were talking about, these emotions right now. And obviously, we are living in a world that is quite chaotic, and has definitely been tweaking people really hard about what they believe or what they can trust.
Yes.
And to have someone who is living in such trust as you have been, knowing that somehow everything will be provided, I think is so profound. So profound. So I thank you for that.
Yeah.
So when you are speaking to someone who is of what I would call contrast, what have you most learned about the human condition that you're bringing forward? Do you have any? There may not be any, final result, of course, but what's coming up for you?
Yeah, what comes up for me is that that we're all generally operating for the same basic human needs. And the ones that I see that are the most consistent and profound are the need to belong, the need to be seen and heard, the need to matter, and also to be understood. And so at the heart of this is community. Like right now, what we're really yearning for as a global humanity is community, to like really, and we need the nurturing, and our society is so set up in a way where all of these basic human needs are generally, we get the opposite of that in so much of our societal structures. So we're yearning it so much right now. We've lost that connection and that community. And so that's one of the things I'm really seeing. And so that's what I try to bring. And that's where empathy is so important. That's one of my, big practices. Now I still have a lot of work to do. It's not easy. I came from the dominator society. I didn't know gratitude growing up. I was part of this whole society of right and wrong, good and bad, and blame and all of that. And so it's an incredible amount of work to deprogram our minds. And one of the main things I'm doing is I am publicly deprogramming my mind. So I am in the process of deprogramming my mind, but I do it all totally transparently, openly, and vulnerably, so that others can be on this journey of deprogramming our mind. And it's so important. We'll never overcome the systems of destruction and exploitation if we can't overcome the systems we have built into our own minds.
It's so true. And Robin, the one thing that a thing that I find, so first of all, there's so much I have to ask you. Okay. But the one thing that I find is fascinating is that you went to LA of all the places. And I think that that's a really, I see why you did that. In fact, it's extremely courageous. And, because there's so much materialism. I saw you in Rodeo Drive. I thought that was fascinating. And then you're welcoming people. Like, I mean, your roster of welcoming people, how to make toilet paper, how to, eat from the land, how to, all of these things. I mean, I've learned a ton. Are you finding that people are coming to gather to you? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's been, there's one thing that it's interesting. I can genuinely say that right now I'm thinking to myself, why do they actually why do you want to talk to me? I've totally I'm in this realm right now where like, I'm just a guy who's sleeping outside in a park, and walks around.
No, your hope. Now, Robin, you know what though, man? You are your hope. And I'll tell you why. I'll share why. Because I remember when I was a kid, this was in my 20s, I wanted to travel around the world. And so I just loaded up my backpack and I left for 2.5 years. And all I had was my backpack. That's it. And I remember, when I was in Russia, I was in places that you weren't supposed to go at the time as a single traveler. And I remember somebody needed my shirt. I gave him my shirt. My backpack got lighter and lighter. I did not refill it. And, I'd work here and there. And I did have a roof over my head, I think I lived on $5 a day. And I
Yeah.
felt an extreme freedom. One thing that was missing for me was that I needed more of that purpose. Like there
Mm,
wasn't a mission for me. And so that's why I then ended up coming back. But there's never a day where I look at my stuff and I go, I don't need, like, that reminds me of I could
mm,
live with just a backpack and I'd be
yeah.
fine.
Mhm.
So you bring that magic and hope back, because when we're going through so much stuff now, like, it's not like you can't even
Yeah.
wrap your head around what's going on.
Yeah.
You create this burst of possibility.
Mm.
To go
That's what you
light,
do.
yeah, to be light like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
it's
very grateful. I'm very grateful for that feedback. To me, I know that what I'm doing is very unique. I know that it's very, to many, extreme, but to me, it all feels so incredibly normal. But I can remember that I didn't know this stuff 10 years ago, and I didn't have these skills, and so I get it, but I really look at myself as so just normal, and but I remember that I'm not. I have to remember that. And so to answer your question of, are people coming out? It's been interesting. People have been people. I'm used to people knowing what I'm up to and like seeing me, and they're like, "Oh man, I've been following you for like 5 years, 10 years," and like running into me on the street and saying that my life has been meaningful to them. But the interesting thing that's been happening in LA is the number of people that recognize me, and you're like, "Hey, you're the guy that I saw in the LA River the other day. Or you're the one that was on Rodeo Drive talking about dissolving your ego." And like just 2 days ago, like five separate people, just while I was rocking around, said that they watch my videos on social media right now in LA, and many of them just found me and that it was meaningful to them. And that's been beautiful.
yeah.
Now, as far as the number of people who actually come to the park, which is right here, this is where we gather, it's been a lower turnout than I expected. And I think part of the reason why is people, honestly, they're like, well, I don't need to go because I can just watch it on the computer or the phone. But people do come every day, and it's been beautiful. There's been up to 40 people at some of my plant walks, and some days there's just like 3 or 4 people. I was expecting more, but with all honesty, since COVID, I've had a much harder time getting people to come out in person
Yeah,
compared
yeah,
to
yeah.
before.
I
Yeah, it
know.
is interesting, isn't it? I think with Los Angeles having just had so many people just wipe out of all of their worldly possessions. I have many friends who've lost everything but the clothes that they
Yeah,
were wearing and they ran out. I think it's it's a bittersweet point to consider making that choice.
yeah.
But the ones that I've spoken to about it, they do say they feel lighter by not
Mm,
being
yep.
held by this. So I would
Yeah.
certainly encourage that. Amy knows this. My mother passed away 6 months ago, and it brings
Mhm.
up so many things, not to mention dissolving two households. So I am just like, again, I'm so grateful for, like, I looked at your list of all the things, like, does this help to improve my quality of life? Is it taking away from my time to be able to maintain this or take care of it? And this work just continues. I mean, those were things that you wrote down back in 2011,
Yeah.
right? Do you still every day wake up and say, okay, here's my mission, here are my intentions? How do you form your day these days?
Well, I would say that to a large degree, I'm in a flow state, in the sense that I
Yes.
don't have to think about what I'm doing. It
Yeah.
just happens.
Yes.
I'm incredibly dedicated to my life and my mission, to the point where I can say with utter certainty that I'm going to be doing this for my entire life with no question whatsoever.
Mm.
And I knew that since I decided this in 2013, that I was going to dedicate my entire life to this. So I have plenty of struggles for sure, and I'm constantly deciding how exactly I'm going to go about that, because I do these different experiments and these projects, and I'm constantly developing as a human being through different practices. And so it changes from time to time, and I'm often brainstorming, what's most important for me to be working on right now. But for the most part, especially for the last year, I've been in a flow state where I'm just living. I'm just able. I mean, really, I'm in the present moment, the largest that I've ever been in my
Beautiful.
life. And the fact that I just took 9 weeks from being 9 weeks offline played a substantial role in that.
That's good that you did that. Wow. And Robin, what's you're after this 3 months, what are you planning on doing?
Well, I'm doing a little speaking tour around California from
Great.
San Diego up to San Francisco, so people can come out and I'll still own nothing for that speaking tour, so people can come out and spend time together. And then actually, I would say as of today, I kind of just said it for the first time, like definitively, that my next endeavor, and I've been wanting to do this for a while, is that for one entire year, I'm going to forage 100% of my food. So I've done a year of growing and foraging my food, which included gardens, but this will just be 100% food that's growing freely and abundantly by the earth,
Mm-hmm.
which means I will be, just deeply immersed in my relationship with the earth. And then at the same time, I'm going to launch my community fruit tree initiative with the goal of planting 1 million community fruit trees in the next 10 years.
Wow. And
You.
And
where are you going to plant yourself? Where would you want to be?
I'm actually going to go back to my homeland of northern Wisconsin, where I'm from, the little town of
Okay.
Ashland, which is population 8,600 people. And
Wow.
that's where I'm going to base myself for this. And it's becoming more and more real as each day I talk about it. And I will still travel, but I'm actually right now contemplating making my homeland of northern Wisconsin my actual home.
Good
And
for
for a
you.
while.
Will you build like a small home, like a little, the ones that you did in Florida?
Well, I'm not sure at the moment, but I am planning on building. Eventually, I'm planning on starting an educational center, something along the lines of the Simple Living Center, where
Mm.
people can come from anywhere in the world to learn all the basic skills to live in harmony with the earth and with one another.
That's a
So,
brilliant idea.
Yes.
yeah, and where
Yeah,
you can come and stay for days, weeks, or months
that's
even,
brilliant.
and on a large place of land where you can just forget the rest of the world exists and really heal and, be with community. And
Mm.
then I would build. The dream is that the whole place can return to the earth. So everything is built
Nice.
from the resources on site, and we're living as simply and closely connected, which will be a real challenge. People who come will have to have some level of like dedication to growth, because it's not necessarily going to be easy. There's going to be it's going to be
Yeah.
really simple. And then I'm planning on eventually on that'll be started as a land trust through a nonprofit. And I'll build a little tiny house for myself that will be 100% from the land. And
So
that
Cobb.
might cob or wood.
Mm-hmm.
There'll probably be some mud and some wood as well. And but my ultimate goal is that ideally I am just as interconnected with the earth as possible, and there's no separateness. And that's been a big part of the practice over the last years.
So beautiful. Robin, it makes me wonder how, if there's any, do you wish people to come forward and assist? Because every day I wake up like, how may my hand serve in the best
Nice.
and highest good? How may we serve you and this beautiful initiative to be so connected and interconnected?
Well, the number one way is to do the work in our own lives. So
Mm-hmm.
that means reprogramming our minds and living in more harmony within ourselves and learning to live in more compassion with people. It means changing our actions to unravel the web of consumerism that we're in and instead weave a new web of connection in community and in relationship. So doing what I did, which is changing our lives through our daily actions. That's the number one thing. But also, if you are someone with resources, financial resources,
Mm-hmm.
then finding ways to plug that in to decrease this massive wealth gap and this inequality and inequity we have, and plug that into nonprofits. On my website at robingreenfield.org/nonprofits, I share about 50 different nonprofits that I recommend. I do have a nonprofit, and if anyone out there would like to see, hundreds of thousands of community fruit trees being planted, right now I'm getting that going. I'm applying to have some AmeriCorps team members, but we'll be needing funding. So if people are really wanting to see that happen, you could support the nonprofit. But
Okay.
most importantly is doing the work. Doing the
Yeah.
work is more important than the money to me.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that comes, I mean, when you have that's always kind of been I hope people would understand the byproduct of whatever it is that you're trying to do. And I know we're wrapping up in a few minutes, but I wanted to ask you, Robin, and do you have any connection with your family?
Yes, my mom actually lives in Ashland, where I'm
Nice.
going to be spending time. So I'll get to spend a lot of time with her. We've really deepened our connection a lot over the last few years, specifically through the practice of compassionate communication. It's transformed our relationship to one
Wow.
where I was usually annoyed and she was usually yelling, and now we're in a state of peace.
I'm so glad that's better now.
That in itself is a massive learning.
It's huge. People would like to
Yes.
have that to-do list.
Exactly.
Yes. So yeah, I'm connected to the Greenfields. That's my mother's side. Not so much the Badgeleys, which is my dad's side. I love all of them, but I've just never had a strong connection with them because my dad's never been around that much.
Yeah.
But there's just 9 Greenfields. We're a very small family and we live in 7 states. So we're very spread out.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
we're all a bit on the different side in our ways.
That's incredible. Well, Robin, this is called Believe in People. And what do you hope? We usually ask, why do you believe in people? But let's flip this. What do you hope for other people?
Well, I guess my hope is that we can ascend the delusion that we are in, that we can rise up against the incredible level of destruction and exploitation that is built into our everyday life and our actions, and that one step at a time we can break free from that, and not from a place of duty or obligation or shame or guilt or have to or should, but from a place of freedom and autonomy and love and connection and enjoying our lives. It's not about sacrifice. We can give away all this extraneous stuff to make space for being who we really want to be and doing what we really want to do. So I'm hoping for people's freedom and liberation and happiness and joy and connection.
I love that.
Extraordinary. I'm again so inspired by you. Thank you
Robin,
for
keep doing what you're doing.
this. Yes.
Keep doing what you're doing because you are inspiring people. And I love the fact, I'm going to just end on this, for anyone who thinks that, and you said this beautifully on another podcast, I think it was with Rich Roll. You said, look, I'm not Gandhi. I don't expect you to, I mean, I adhere to his principles and understanding, but you don't have to follow me. I'm just here to teach and not teach.
Encourage.
What did you said?
Show another way as possible, maybe?
Yeah,
or?
exactly. Yeah, it was around that, not that you needed to lean into something, but if you appreciate what one is doing, then that's what you can do. That's great.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
Yeah, well, I've really enjoyed being with you. You've given me some hope, I'll say, and I feel a sense of upliftment and a nice bubbling in my heart. So you've given me motivation to continue.
Thanks, Robin. Well, we're thrilled about that.
So lovely. I wish I were in Los Angeles to come and visit with you right now.
Yeah, I know. I wish you were here right now too.
Exactly.
Next
Thanks a
time.
ton.
And if you,
Next
Northern
time, for
California.
You're in Northern California?
I am.
Well, I'll be in San Francisco for the tours and Sebastopol. So.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I'll bring friends. I'd love.
Okay,
love
that'd be
to meet you
that.
in
That's
person,
cool.
too.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
Robin. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
thanks,
And,
Melissa. She rocks.
okay, I'll tell you that. All right, love you both.
Love you too. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, wonderful.
Wow. You know what? You know what's really amazing is that I actually feel, it's like when I first met you, Jane, I feel a unbelievable energy through our conversation. Like it's just, I like a beam of my heart is beaming.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Do you feel that?
It's profound when you meet someone who completely walks their talk and does it for the best possible reasons. You know, that he is here to be love or be compassion or be, connected to everything, and his
Oh.
connection to the land. And we didn't even talk about, source energy or any of that, but he's so deeply interconnected with all that is. It's just extraordinary.
It really is extraordinary. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you for sharing this moment with me, because I couldn't imagine anyone else
Oh.
having a conversation with Robin than you. I just think it's so great. Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
grateful. I'm so grateful, and not just for cleaning my house up. It really is. But that does help too.
I know. Thank you so much.